In the twilight of the Sengoku period, Takuro, a once-honored samurai general, was feared across the land for his unparalleled combat skills and ruthless tactics. Driven by an insatiable thirst for power, he and his army razed villages, leaving nothing but desolation in their wake. Takuro believed that fear would grant him control over the region. But there was one village, a remote and peaceful settlement, that refused to submit to his rule. Angered by their defiance, Takuro led his warriors to wipe it from existence. On the day of the massacre, the village fell in a matter of hours. No one was spared. Men, women, and even children were mercilessly slain. Takuro, standing over the ruins, felt no guilt as his soldiers set fire to the homes. But as the flames rose into the sky, an old, frail elder, the last surviving villager, crawled toward Takuro. With his dying breath, the elder fixed his gaze on the samurai and spoke. "You who have taken lives without honor will know no rest. The spirits of the innocent will bind you here, forcing you to protect the souls you've murdered. You will never leave these grounds, and neither will your madness." Takuro brushed off the curse as foolish superstition, laughing in the elder's face as he delivered the final blow. But as the elder's lifeless body fell to the ground, a strange chill swept through the air. The sky darkened and the once bright sun dimmed behind a veil of clouds. Takuro felt a shift deep within, though he couldn't yet grasp the gravity of what was happening. In the months that followed, his fortune began to unravel. His men deserted him, his strongholds crumbled, and his influence faded. Takuro retreated to the ruins of the cursed village, seeking solitude in the desolation he had created. But it was then that the true horror began. Night after night, Takuro was haunted by vivid visions of the massacre. The faces of the slain villagers appeared in his dreams, their eyes wide with terror, their mouths contorted in silent screams. The whispers grew louder each time until one fateful evening, Takuro awoke to find himself standing at the center of the village ruins, sword in hand, as if he had been summoned there. The curse had fully taken hold. From that night forward, Takuro became a wraith of his former self. His once pristine armor rusted, his skin pale and gaunt, and his face hidden beneath a demonic Oni mask that seemed to fuse with his flesh. Bound by the elder's curse, he was now the unwilling guardian of the village he had destroyed. His mind, tormented and broken, twisted with an eternal rage he could not control. Every person who wandered into the ruins was confronted by the sight of Takuro, standing silent and still, sword raised in silent vigil. Many who encountered him believed they were witnessing the spirit of a fallen samurai. They would approach, some out of curiosity, others out of pity, but none were prepared for what came next. When they came too close, Takuro would scream, a blood-curdling, guttural cry filled with the agony of countless lost souls. His attacks were frenzied, with the strength of a man possessed, his blade cutting through the air with supernatural precision. None who engaged with him could survive unscathed. Travelers fled, terrified by his inhuman speed and relentless strikes. Some managed to escape, but all spoke of the deep madness that lingered in the samurai's burning eyes, as though the tortured spirits of the village clung to him, forcing him to fight for them, to protect them, even in death. Years passed, and the village remained desolate, its story fading into legend. Yet those brave or foolish enough to seek the truth would always return with tales of the cursed samurai. They said that if you crossed the boundary of the old village at night, you could still hear the soft weeping of the spirits trapped there, and if you listened closely, you would hear the final scream of Takuro, the samurai forever cursed to atone for his sins by guarding the ghosts of his victims for eternity. For Takuro, there would be no peace, no redemption, only an endless cycle of violence and torment in the ruins of the village he once destroyed.